Alright. What's up, everybody? We got ourselves a series from the KSL Week 13. Dragon Kaiser Gaming's Oliveira in the top left, Solar in the bottom right, representing Onside. Onside versus Dragon Kaiser Gaming, Solar versus Oliveira. Solar surely has to be the favorite here as one of the greatest Zergs out there. However, I do feel Solar is not as greedy as some other Zergs. He's quite standard, right? So I think if Oliveira leans too hard into the aggression, Solar might just rip his face off and show that amazing defense that he's known for. On the other hand, if Oliveira is a bit greedy and then starts multi-pronging like mad, I do feel when Oliveira starts to really get into his groove, he can multitask with the best Terrans out there. And he's got a pretty damn good late game on him as well. So I wouldn't mind seeing that. Babylon here in map 1, it's a best of 3 semifinals. And it's a good map for Terran. I imagine the second map will be usually Altitude gets vetoed by Terrans, which means map 2 is usually Ancient Cistern is the Zerg's first pick. This is usually one of the first Terran picks. And the Decider, it could be, I mean, actually, Royal Blood often gets vetoed as well by Zerg. So I would imagine the Decider is usually like Gresvin. We almost always say like Babylon, Gresvin, Ancient Cistern seem to be the 3 maps that we see over and over again in this map pool. Alright, SCV is going to be starting a command center. This is a blind opening for Oliveira in the top left. Is Solar the Korean Serral? That's an interesting question. Kind of. he's really good at just surviving and winning at Hive Tech, and I do feel that Serral these days is way more flexible than Solar. It's kind of a weird thing to say, but Serral is mixing in a lot of fun strategies, and I think Serral is one of the best build. Hello? Windows 11. Guys, sorry, I should have announced at the start of the video. This program is brought to you by Windows 11, where it randomly tabs me out to a folder for I don't know why that happened. This happens like once every week or two, where I'll be in the middle of doing something and it just tabs me out in the middle of a game, and I'm like, what is happening right now, Windows 11? Oh my god. I got a new computer from sponsors, and of course, any new computer from a professional company that makes computers has to come out with the newest version of Windows, guys. It is what it is. I know, just like all of you. I wish I was still on Windows XP. But it is what it is. The Reaper doesn't get any real damage there. Sorry for the disruption. And it is a third command center build for Oliveira. I think that's a very I think it's quite safe against Solar. Solar's so rarely all-ins. Solar's all-ins are often done if you fail a 2-Rax Reaper or a Proxy Barracks, he'll try to all-in you to finish the game off. So it's if you try an aggressive move, it doesn't go well, he'll be like, I think I can get you with a Bane Bust. But other than that, he's so confident in his defensive play that he is a little bit predictable. As I was saying, Serral, a bit more flexible with his crazy build orders than Solar these days. You could argue that Solar is actually a better straight-up defensive Zerg. Oh, okay, GG. It's over, guys. It's over. I know people actually complain about this in the comment section in the chat. They're like, why is the caster just talking about the stupid Urubu? Guys, it's the curse of the Urubu, and I have never not seen it happen that the person who kills the Urubu loses. It is 100% of the time. If you kill the critter, it's just hanging out. Urubu, who are you? Urubu, oh, you shot me? A pox on your family. That other Urubu has just put a goddamn hex on Solar's family. A pox upon them, a curse. And I tell you, if Solar wins this game, I will be stunned, because every time I've seen someone kill that, they've lost on this map. And we'll see. Maybe Solar is going to break the pattern. Maybe he's going to break the mold a little bit here. But Urubu, you, I don't know. Anyways, let's talk about the builds. I actually have not seen it in a pro match not happen. I'm sure there's a lot of people who say, well, I killed the Urubu and then won the other day on ladder. And I'm like, I'm sorry, Billy Platinum League. Not a professional game, doesn't count. Sorry. Pro matches that I've cast, every time someone kills the critter, they lose. I haven't seen one where both players kill a critter yet. I imagine that cancels out. Hellions aren't finding any damage, but, you know, you're playing an economic build, you don't need to. Solar with some great scouting, he sees the third command center. Hellions are pumping as well. We've got the depots there. Third command center moving down to that side. Interesting. It feels like Solar's pretty solid right now. The lair is not the absolute fastest, so he is going to have to rely on some spores initially. What's interesting, guys, is recently we've seen a lot of Zergs sticking to a single queen defense group. I think it's because players have been actually trying to kill the queens a bit more lately. But it's odd because, I mean, you know there's Banshees. Normally you'd want to split 3 of these queens off. So you have 1 squad of 3 queens to fight the Hellions and 1 squad of 3 queens elsewhere. But with 8 Hellions on the map, Solar's saying, heck no, I gotta respect these Hellions, man. I'm just gonna use whatever queen and Spore Crawler is at a base to defend. Yeah, the Banshees can pick off a few drones, but that's not the end of the world. Behind this, double Evo going down, 3 gas, Lair, Baneling Nest, and a pretty well-timed 4th base as well. I sometimes criticize Solar for his 4th base timing. This one's pretty solid at about 520. I think this is the 2nd or 3rd scan being used by Oliveira. Oliveira really trying hard to keep that creep in control. Still creep out here on the top side though. Banshees come in, and they're going to get a drone. Bit of a misfire on the first one, and taking a lot of damage. Ooh. It's not a great opening for Oliveira. Guys, this might be the game where the curse falls apart. I talked about the curse and how Solar's screwed. Now I see Solar on 70, about to be 74 drones. Baneling speed started. 1-1 upgrades will start when he hits 250 gas and can start both of those at the same time. He's got a 4th base with drones rallying out to it. I mean, this opening's about as smooth as it goes for Solar. 1-1 is about 30 seconds ahead for Oliveira. He's making tanks and bio. His 4th and 5th barracks are up. He's building the reactors on them. So he's hitting all of the notes on his build that he needs to right on time. But it remains the fact that he's let Solar get to a powerful position. Even though the creep is not that far out, I mean, having a 4th already with like, what, 12 drones on it? And obviously oversaturated when his main starts to mine out in 2 minutes. Probably takes a 5th base in the near future up the top. Okay, here we go. I was going to say, in this sort of scenario, you really have pressure on you to find some damage, but with Baneling speed being finished in 25 seconds, I don't know if there's really an opportunity. Solar is going to try and defend. He sees the Marines and the Aliens here. The Stim comes in. The Overlord goes down, as do a few Creep Tumors and Zerglings. That Siege Tank, he's going to move to the right side. Oh, if he got jumped on, that could have caused him trouble, but Oliveira, having faith in his timing. His Siege Tank didn't quite get in the corner as much as it could have. The Marines do not have combat shields yet. These are 0-0 Marines. This is a fierce timing attack. Solar, he's trying to set up a flank on the left of Zerglings. He needs to bring those units right around from down here to get on that Siege Tank as quickly as possible. But with no Banelings flanking, it's going to be very hard. And the Queens are just trying to buy time. Only 2 drones fell so far. I do think it's probably time for Oliveira to leave. If I was Oliveira, guys, I'd pick up the tank and I'd boost away, stim the Marines away if I have to. He's going to just morph Hellbats and stay here. He's standing his ground. He says, no, I've got 1-1 upgrades. Combat Shield is about to finish. I'm going to keep fighting, man. Banelings are morphing in the middle of the map, ready for the flank. Banshees coming back on the north. They're going to try and deny the 5th base. That 5th base is very late for Solar. He sees the Banshees, and he does rotate with his drone to dodge them while under pressure on the front. That's pretty good attention to detail. Looks like another 2 drones did go down here to Oliveira. Solar's continuing drone production. Queen goes down to the top. Nice move by Oliveira. Here we go. Bigling Bane flank coming in. The Hellbats trying to hold the line. The Marines start to step back. He's got to pick up those Marines, and he does. He loses the Hellbats in the tank, but it's not cheap for Solar. Solar has lost over 3,000 resources, only 1,000 going down for Oliveira. He's getting rid of the creep in the main, which actually clears that open for the future. Gets rid of some drones, gets rid of that Queen, and a bunch more drones going down. Woo! Oliveira's feeling himself right now. I told you guys, if he gets in his comfort zone, he can multitask and micro with the best of them. Banshees escape on the north. They can be used later on. Fantastic play. Just keep them alive. Hide them in the corner until later. He's got a 4th command center floating out. A 2nd factory on the way. Double engineering bay. Have his 2-2, which are still ahead of the 2-2 of Solar. Unfortunately, a Banshee does go down. The 5th base is finally down for Solar. And as much as Solar took a bad trade, remember he had that economic advantage earlier, so he's not too far behind. Hydra, Ling, Bane, mass lair tech army coming in. It's the lack of creep spread on this angle that's giving Oliveira a perfect chance for a fight. Coming off creep is a bit risky. I like that Solar baited a stim, forced him to siege, slowed him down. But I do think it's backstab o'clock for Solar. I don't think Solar can attack up this ramp one directionally, but it looks like he's setting up for that right now. Those Queens are taking damage. A Hydralisk got caught that was popping out. Queens are starting to fall, as are the drones in that mineral line. The pressure's on. The Banshee goes back in that top side, starts picking off drones. Solar goes for it, but almost all of his units are stuck behind each other. He didn't set up the flank properly. An awful engagement for Solar. He thought those Hydralink Bane were going to come around the left, but they went around the right side. A massive screw up. He once again doesn't finish splitting the units before going for the A move. The curse of the Urubu is real. Solar panicked. He did not set up that flank correctly. He went in too early. Oliveira was killing drones, damaging the hatchery. Solar felt he needed to pull the trigger, and he felt a bit panicked, and he rushed it. Does end up taking massive losses. Now, you might say, well, he held the attack, didn't he? He did not. There's another army cascading across the map. That was an awful piece of micro from Solar, unfortunately, and I really think it comes back to the Curse of the Urubu holding true. So notice, guys, he wanted to flank units around the left, but he keeps regrouping his units together. I don't know if it's because the Banshee's pissing him off or what, but you can see he needs to get these units. And remember, even if you have your units there, that's not a good flanking angle, because they're just going to clump up around this edge. You want to move your unit there and then shift-click over here, so the units are actually engaging through this big wide open area. You don't want to ever be attacking around terrain, because otherwise these areas where I'm boxing, there and there, are going to turn into death zones, kill zones, where the units get stuck on the terrain, they clump up more than they normally would, and the enemy splash damage is going to be effective. So you can see here, because the Marines pushed in, he panicked, he A-moved, he thought that flank was going to go around the left, and look at what happens. At first they did, but then he changed his A-move. He A-moved over here, and the units were going left, but then he changed, and he A-moved down here, and the units changed the pathing to the right. A big mistake for Solar. If those units at least came from the left, they wouldn't have been stuck behind his wall of queens like this. This is an absolute disaster. Well played by Oliveira in map 1. Alright guys, going into the next map, very passive openings here. Solar in the bottom right side, just getting over the hatch gas pool, and no scout for Oliveira, who's going for a reactor. First opening, so we've got blind Terran verse, not as blind Zerg, since your Overlord gets to go across, but not even checking the wall off. So Solar is worried about Marines sniping him, as he should be. There's going to be 4 Marines out very early in this game. Oliveira getting the victory in that last game. I thought Solar had a pretty good start, but definitely just needed to set up those flanks a little bit better. The pressure that Oliveira put on him, though, in the micro was exceptional. A few Lings going to go out right now. Solar's very blind right now, and he's like, what am I playing against? I'm a bit nervous. Sees the command center finishing and says, okay, normal 1-Rex expand, and he sees a bunch of Marines, and he knows it's a reactor first build. Now, you can try to all in this, because you know that they usually don't have Hellions out very early, but at the same time, you never know when they're going to swap. And as we find out, there we go, swap is happening, Starport's on the way. Please don't build Widow Mines, good. I really think Widow Mine drop first Zerg is not a great build order. Occasionally, we see it pay off huge, but just the fact that you can so easily build Spore Crawlers if it's an armory, and if it's not, you just, you can do the Spore trick to even make sure it does no damage, which guys like Solar will be so good at pulling off. This does slow down your third command center a lot, this build, but not that much, because notice there's no second gas. If you're just building Marines, Hellions, and a single medevac, you're still very focused on minerals, right? So usually at about 330, sometimes with these builds, you can get that command center. Because he swapped the Hellion production over and he's keeping that up, looks like it's going to be more like a 4 minutes, about 4 minutes he can go for the command center. Hellions on the right side. 2 more Hellions have come out. They haven't come across the map just yet. Marines are kind of just running around the map willy-nilly. Looks like those Marines are going to get ready to get inside that medevac. So he's going to group these 4 Marines, pick them up, and he's going to do a 4 Hellion run by paired up with this Marine drop. Command center does go down at 4 minutes. And those 4 Hellions can drive out as well to join up with this. Solar seems to be very well prepared. He's got himself a good spready of Queens, Lings in the main base, Spore Crawler on the natural. And behind it, the factory starts building reactor. The starport might consider building a reactor, but first he's got to get his 2nd and 3rd barracks up. So solid standard setup for Oliveira, adding a 2nd gas, very mineral focused build. Hellions poking in. Queen's going to push it back for now. Ling's on top of the drop, unable to unload that one. And notice how Solar's pulled all those Overlords back, so they're not in jeopardy, but these drones are. Ooh, Oliveira with a good run by there. Does get 6 workers, but Solar comes in with the punishing surround. Can he get more damage to take advantage of those Lings being out of position? The Marine drop may be a little slow to get in there. I feel like he could have gone after these drones in the main a little bit faster. Good pullback on those drones. And you know what? 6 drones go down for 4 Hellions. That's not the end of the world for either player. The Hellions go back in. They're going to take out 2 more drones, maybe 3. And the Marines take out 1 more Overlord. That Overlord was actually in a risky enough position, believe it or not. Does supply block Solar. Not too bad for Oliveira. His 3rd command center's up. He's got 3 barracks swapping around, double engineering bay. All the good stuff happening here for Oliveira as that medevac. Going to push this Overlord back. Don't think he can get the kill. Oh, yes, he can. That Overlord should have... Oh, wow. Those Marines actually reached further than I thought. And even more Overlord kills going down. Very annoying for Solar. But he's droning up. He will get the lead in the workers. I don't know who's ahead off this opening. It feels like the lair is well-timed. The Baneling Nest is a little late. But, of course, Oliveira's 3rd is quite slow as well. His 1-1 upgrades are coming in. He doesn't have any follow-up pressure right now. I feel like if Solar's perfect on his creep spread for the next minute of this game, then he might have a powerful position. Like, he's got the 4th base, he's got a creep tumor in the north, 1 in the center, 1 in the bottom. Spreads the 1 in the bottom. The 1 in the middle's ready to spread. He's going to put more creep tumors out. A few more in the middle is, I would argue, the most important area rather than up there. Double Evo is going down. Baneling speed starts up. 2 more gases, so it's going to be a 5 gasling Bane setup. Very standard. Few Marines coming forward here, but there's only 1 medevac on the front. You got to be very careful here. Okay, he's boosting those medevacs, so he will have enough to get out. With 1-1 and shield, still about 50 seconds away, in fact. Doesn't have the same firepower on these as he will later on, but there's no Banelings. That's still a pretty hefty ball of Marines, as these other medevacs can boost in to save him. Overlords are exposed in the front. Oh, nice micro by Oliveira. Gets an Overlord, gets a Queen. And these Queens are almost completely out of transfuse. He picks up and runs away. The Banelings were morphs, and he is quite damaged, so fair enough. He's going to move to the top side, make sure he denies any 5th base attempts up there, as well as slowly heals up those Marines. Behind it, we've got a second factory starting. Armory is almost finished. That's going to time out very well, so we can start 2-2 immediately. And 1-1 has only just started in the last 30 seconds for Solar, so he's quite far behind on those upgrades. However, 4th base, healthy. He's got 71 workers. His creep spread, if he can respread that on these paths, like I said, will be a big advantage. Solar is not the best creep spreader. He's more of a just defend in his little circle and make sure you can't get direct damage. You can pretty much always put him in a little circle of his side of the map where his creep is pushed back. He doesn't have that much control. Doesn't mean you're going to win the game, though, because Solar's so good at bouncing back from that. Solar's just like, yeah, it's fine. I got a hive. I got lurkers. Time to kill you. Or I crush 1 army. Lingbane Hydra goes across the map. Widowmine drop on the north. And a double drop on the south. Oliveira is going to try and really keep this map control and multi-prong going. His 4th command center is on the way. His 2-2's about 30 seconds underway. Scans again to clear up some creep there. He will get that creep tumor. And a few Widowmine spread here. Double drop going into the main. There's 2 spores. Well placed. Oh, Solar. Oh, and his Lingbane's there as well. Medevacs go in. They awkwardly do the Abe Simpson and turn around, take their hat off the rack, and walk on out of there. They're like, I didn't mean to come here at all. Hydras are coming out now as well. Let's see if the Widowmine drop can find the mark. Solar's defense has been on point. Oh, he's not watching. Oh, 7 drones go down. Could have been worse, actually. Notice Oliveira did focus the Widowmines, which is a super pro move, focusing them. But he actually could have focused them a little better. He should have focused on one of these drones. That patch there is the money shot, I believe. You get like 5 or 6 workers on that shot. Widowmine Bio still pressuring. 4th base is moving out. The Infestation Pit's only halfway done. This is not going to be a crazy early hive. The problem for Oliveira is Solar's on 87 workers. He's only on 69. Ooh, the Widowmine's not able to fire in time. Spore Crawler's built so quickly. Lingbane Hydra is there. Decent spready from Solar. Limits the amount of damage that Widowmine does. And Siege Tanks are being mixed in, as well as Drilling Claws. Hive and Lurker Den have started up for Solar. It's a race in this game to see who can get something done. For Solar, it's can I just get Hive Tech? Because I get Hive Tech, I defend this economy, I'm winning this game. For Oliveira, he doesn't have a 5th command center started. He's only on 5 barracks. So he doesn't even have his full 3-base production yet. He's just like, well, I have 2 factories and 5 barracks. And he's got a good army. He's maxed. But he doesn't have a lot of infrastructure behind it. This 2-2 timing needs to get something done. And I do like that he's got a double drop in the south, as well as a nice Siege Tank Widowmine Marine spready up there. Oh, the Baneling! That Baneling almost got those Marines a little bit overstimmed here, but plenty of medevacs for the juicy heals. He's going to try and keep baiting him in. Having another Siege Tank a bit further forward is really good for baiting them in. Oliveira's going to rotate to this angle. We always talk about that angle. Driving a wedge down there is the best thing you can do. Great pickup. Does save most of those Marines after sniping gas. Drops on the high ground, causing a bit of chaos. A Marine drop goes around the top. I don't even know where that came from. Luckily for Solar, he's very quick. Spore Crawler is in range of it. The Marines are going to get gunned down in the main as well. Oh, Oliveira's getting a little wasteful, guys. Look at that unit's lost tab. That's surprisingly close for a Zerg versus Terran. Extra barracks are building, 3-3, 5th command center. There is some progression, but is that going to be able to match what Solar brings now that his hive is finished up in the main? He hasn't started anything with it. There we go. 1 Viper, Adrenal Glands, and the Lurker upgrades are on the way. The Hydra Den is about to get Groove Spines, which is the 2nd Hydralisk upgrade. The Queens are trying to respread creep in the face of this push. Maybe a little bit cavalier for Solar. He's going to have to get rid of this army before he really regains control of this area. Still feel this base, even though it's good to defend from drops, very hard to ever really mine from it once the Terran pushes forward. Oliveira is just chilling on his side of the map, but man, he's got Widow Mines spread everywhere. Only about 4, and they're all at the front of this army, which worries me. If all these Widow Mines get defused, it's just a handful of tanks and Marines on their own, which are not as good. A few Banelings go down to that Widow Mine. That Widow Mine's poorly placed. That should be down a bit further. It's unable to fire. He's bringing back his Bio Mine, and that will push Solar back on this side. Solar with good micro. He's avoiding any critical damage. He's got his new base coming up on the top. That Widow Mine, he's got to shuffle that bad boy down. That is a useless Widow Mine in that position. Just doesn't get enough tracking time to get the shot off. Marines and units coming forward. The Link Bane's going to go for it. Solar, no, he's just scaring him back for now. That would have been a pretty wild move to just attack in on that angle without a flank. Solar's just turtling it out until he gets the Blinding Clouds. I think when he gets a double Blinding Cloud, he's going to go for the bust on that position. Let's check in on that Viper as that top push gets held. Viper's maxed on energy. He brings in the Viper from this angle. Blinding Clouds, a bunch of the tanks. Comes in with a Ling Bane flank. He's going to clear that army very effectively. Oliveira is deep in his territory, and it just doesn't feel like that huge of an army. There's also no Marauders in the mix. It's almost pure Marine. And it just takes a few Banelings to ruin those Marines. Good pre-spread for Oliveira, but oh my lord, those Marines getting gunned down. Baneling's getting some good juicies. There we go! Blinding Clouds all over the tanks. The Ling Bane Hydra comes in from 2 sides, and Oliveira's army gets flattened, absolutely squished. He says, you think you're the one who squashes the roaches, who squashes the bugs? Nuh-uh, mate. And look at this counterattack with vengeance. He dives across the map. Oliveira has nothing at home. That was an absolute rout. Solar rolls into the mineral line and says, see you, mate. Don't want to be ya. Banelings clear that entire mineral line. 4th base does survive, but 19 SCVs going down. I wouldn't mind him staying there to kill the infrastructure, to be honest. Kill the Widow Mines, kill the Sensor Tower. You know, you got a pretty big army here, but it looks like he wants to pull back, not take any risks for now. Lurkers are morphing. 6 of them are on the way. He's probably going to send those Lurkers in from the north to try and siege this base. These depots, Sensor Tower, gases, and the factory are all high-value targets. Ghosts are on the way. 2 more command centers building over here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 command centers on the bases. 3 more orbitals to round out the Iron Bank. And Oliveira's got good infrastructure. He just has no army for the next few minutes of this game. Like, if he can survive to maxed out and beyond, it's not like Solar has the craziest number, or had the craziest number of bases. Now this one's mining, and he's got the bottom base mining. Yeah, okay, he's up to 4k minerals a minute almost, 3.7, 3.8. Dropping the bot. Does get caught by the Zerglings. He's going to have to pull back. I mean, Oliveira's got some good micro, but it's just, he's got nothing behind. He's got 18 Marines, 4 Marauders, 2 tanks, 2 libs. He's trying to build ghosts, tanks, and libs right now. He's just outnumbered. Solar's just going to bang it. Solar's just going to go on in. He says, welcome to Baneling Town, son. And the Banelings are going to take out that planetary. 13 SCVs going down. There's nothing behind it to defend. The drop in the top got cleaned up as well. The medevacs are going back empty. Oh, no. Unit's loss type is actually in favor of Solar. That is a disaster for the Terran. And I don't know, man. At this point, it's a big victory for Solar. Just swarming over him. That push in the middle, I think hanging out on Zerg's side of the map without doing any direct damage. It was just denying a base from mining. I feel like Oliveira got a little bit loose in terms of his focus. It felt like he really wanted to commit to a hard timing attack, and then he realized it wasn't going to work, backed out of it, but he didn't actually pull his push home, even though he was trying to swap into the Mega Macro game with the Mass Command Center behind it. Massling Bane going to go on this Command Center. Oh, Baneling's in the mineral line going for the dual hit on the planetary and the repairing SCVs, and Solar ties up the series. Alright guys, let's go. Oliveira up here in the top right side, going into game 3 up against Solar in the bottom left, and... What? Oh, he's going to try and proxy barracks in the natural. This is such a dirty build. Oh my god, Oliveira is going for the most all-in double proxy barracks, but most Zergs send that first overlord up to and around, and then they send the second overlord to the right to check for this. But Solar's going straight to the right. The first overlord goes straight across the map normally. Oh my god, so the overlord sees it, the SCV changes path, and he's gonna proxy a barracks over there. Solar dropping the question mark. He's like, what's that, buddy? I know what that means. I know what that means when you try to come in with your SCV like that, you idiot. He's gonna send this overlord forward now. This drone's gonna go out here looking for it. If he can find that barracks, that would be pretty huge. He's going left. But remember, when it gets scouted, a lot of players just build the barracks at home. Oh, he finds it. He finds it. This is massive. Oh, no. Oliveira's in the doo-doo, guys. Oliveira is in the doo-doo right now. Oh, but wait, the SCVs. Solar's going to be so triggered if he doesn't get this. He found it when it was like halfway built. The SCV goes to the other side again. How lucky can Oliveira get? Oh my God, if he goes back to the other side again. No. Oliveira, you're going to pop on. Oh, he goes to the other side. If he gets this barracks finished. No, he doesn't. Oh wait, he brings another SCV though, so it's okay. He still gets the barracks up. You need to get a Reaper out here or your whole build is screwed, guys. Reaper's gonna start as well as an orbital. Yes, he's floating a lot of money, but you need the orbital as the priority. Arguably, he could have gone command center first there. Solar says, oh, is this the bunny build? The lose your SCVs, trying to make your practice, your proxy racks? Like, what is this? Secret build. It's a Cert build, secret build, big build. Solar's like, yeah, sure it is, buddy. Pretty sure I'm pretty far ahead in this game now. Your opening is absolutely diddled. Remember, with that double proxy racks, you're cutting SCVs to make that happen. So Oliveira is already 1 or 2 SCVs behind from where he should be. His command center has to go on the high ground, not the natural. And he starts his factory with no barracks to build a reactor for it. He's got to float at home. Oliveira is in a terrible position right now. And Solar basically just needs to do what Solar always does, play a solid game. He's going to be going to the mid game with a kickstart. And Oliveira needs to micro his little heart out and get any value that he can get. There we go. Ooh. Oh, okay. The drone goes down. Gets a drone and a Zergling. Hey, that's pretty uncharacteristic, that amount of damage. Not too bad, man. I'm not sure why that queen was so late in the main. She felt like she was very slow, so maybe Solar a little slow in his spawning pool while busy bantering with his opponent. He's got gas link speed on the way now, though. Starport building, factory building itself a reactor, and Oliveira going double gas. Interesting. So I guess he's going to go Banshee or something like that. Reaper does get pushed out of the main. Looks like he got another Zergling kill. So 2 Zerglings and a drone. Pretty good for that Reaper. But of course, now the creep is spreading from the main and the natural at the same time. Solar is feeling pretty nice about this opening, mate. If he loses another 5 drones to this Reaper, he's like, oh, I'm in trouble. For now, though, it's a good position. Now, second gas into third command center. Okay, fascinating. Fascinating build here. So it looks like Hellion Banshee, Oliveira's comfort zone. Those Banshees do potentially give you a lot of value on the defense. Hard to force that value offensively, though. And is he going to skip on Cloak? Right now, he's just prioritizing SCVs. He knows he has to catch up on those workers. That's going to be the real big challenge for him this game. But he might play Cloakless Banshee. Yeah, I think he is, because he's still building Marines one at a time rather than just building like a reactor or something like that. Overlord will come in. He's got nothing that shoots up, so that Marine will have to try to limit it on its own. Reaper's going to come in. If he gets another drone, that would be wild. But Link speed is finished. Links can hunt that Reaper down. Hellions are joining up to keep him safe, though. No cloak upgrading, so Solar is going to feel pretty calm about this. He's like, well, unless there's a fusion core, I don't really need to respect that. Oh no. Oh, Oliveira is going for broke. But it's his Hellions that end up getting broke down there. Solar ripping this nerd apart. He doesn't even get that drone. He's going to lose the Reaper as well. Ooh, Oliveira right now needs to dig deep. Oliveira needs to tap into that World Championship mentality, you know? The thing that got him that victory. He's got a Banshee and a Raven on the way. He's making stim. He's up against a 52 drone Zerg that is all over this map. Spore Crawler in the main base there on that left side. And second gas does go up as well. Creep is starting to spread outwards. Third command center finishing up here. Orbital has completed. Queen's going to push back that Banshee. Oh, man. Oof. I mean, the only thing going for Oliveira is that Solar, I mean, he sat on 52 drones for a little bit. But, man, the double Evo is well-timed. No Lair or Baneling Nest just yet, but he doesn't need him. And the Raven and the Hellions will look for Creep Tumor Snipes, but he can't really force a fight. Those Queens already heavily bruising that Raven. Double Engineering Bay does go down, as well as a third gas. Fourth gas starts there on the left as well. Siege tanks building, going to give him a little bit of safety. I imagine Oliveira is going to go full turtle mode in this game. That's what I would expect. I don't think anything like an 8 racks, like a 3 base all in, wins you this game. I think Solar's going to be so far ahead. I mean, look at the worker count. Already an almost 20 worker lead, and that's going to continue for the next little while. Where's that lair? That lair is really late. 6-minute lair? After starting 1-1 upgrades, okay. I mean, Solar, he's just going to play mass upgraded Zerglings for a while. Doesn't have a Baneling Nest just yet. There we go. Is going to go down in time to start Baneling Speed the moment the lair's done. But is there really anything Oliveira can do to punish that? I don't think so. I mean, you got a 4th base on the way. I do sometimes criticize Solar for late 4th and 5th base timings. The 4th is perfectly timed. The 5th base, though, is definitely something he delays a long time. He's building a macro hatchery in the main base. Very awkwardly positioned. Units, like queens, can't move through there, I don't think, on the bottom side. I don't think they can move through here either, so he's kind of walling his own base in a little bit. Lings and Banes and drones can still squeeze through. Queen's moving over to this left side. Raven Hellion for Oliveira gets a few snipes. He's down 21 workers. Oh, sorry, 18 workers now. Never mind. 4th and 5th barracks coming up. Doesn't have an armory started yet. It's just 1-1 upgrades. Oliveira, what wizardry do you do in this game? I still think it's go Maru style and turtle. But he could try for a timing attack. The army supply is kind of close right now. What lines up for it, though? Combat shields and 1-1 are a while away. He will have 3 tanks. He could do a 3 siege tank timing. Try to get some value out of the Raven. The Hellions are still alive. They can morph into Hellbats and guard the tanks. 4 bases fully mining. 1-1 upgrades are here. Baneling speed is on the way. I feel like Solar is just absolutely unstoppable now. 5th base on the left. His creep is looking good. Remember, we're used to Solar not having the greatest creep because the Terran's got the pressure on him. Not in this game. At least Oliveira is not having to use scans to kill the creep. That's the one thing we can say. But look at that. He gets 4 tumors and immediately just needs to run away. Run! Oh my god, okay. I thought Solar was going to counterattack him there. He's got that 2nd factory at the front. Mules are still dropping. No 4th command center started just yet for Oliveira. I guess he could do a 3 base max out all in as well. That's the other option, guys. But with a 2nd factory, I doubt it. I think we'll see a 4th command center. He just doesn't have the money for it. 2-2 starts for him a little later than Solar's. When Zerg's out on the upgrades and they've got that solid worker lead, you know they're in a good spot. Obviously, Terran can close the worker lead as Zerg is like, well, I've got 82 drones. That's as many as I want. I want to save the rest of my supply for army. Hydroden infestation pit on the way. Solar's got the map covered. I do want to point out how defensive Solar is, guys. Like, Raynor in this position would just go kill you. He'd spread half of his army on the left, some of his army on the right after breaking the rocks, and he'd just collapse on this base and try to win with Hydroling Bane. Some of the players might be doing some backstabs or something, or at least have some army split up and set up for it. Solar's going to be forced to split his army now, as the Marines split to the left side. Raven's still on the right side Marine squad. Hive does start up. No 4th command center. Is this just going to be a 2-factory siege tank Marine all in? Yeah. Guys, Oliveira's just going all in. Like I said, you could do a maxed out push. I didn't think he was going to do it with 2 factories, but he is going to go for that. Those Marines just pick up and pull back. You know, the dream for him might be if Solar tries to do an attack into his mass sieged up tanks on 3 base, because Solar's not scouting. He hasn't been checking. Solar doesn't know there's no 4th command center. He probably thinks Oliveira's just going to total. So if he went for an attack right now, Oliveira takes an amazing defense and then counterattacks, he could crush. But as it is, it's time to go. He can't wait for Solar to make that mistake. He's got to move out right here, right now. 1 push to rule them all. 1 push to bind them. Lots of siege tanks to in the darkness bind them. I can't remember the whole thing. You guys, bloody nerds, call me out for it. It's fine. Bigling Bane backstab's gonna come in. Giant push on the right side. Solar's trying to slow things down. I think he should just give this base up. No reason to fight when you've got that many units ruining Oliveira at home. Solar's just gonna give up the base and pull back. This is really smart play for him. He crushes the 3rd, annihilates that. He could bring that Ling Bane back as a flanking force. Oliveira knows he needs to win right now with this army. Anti-armor missiles going down all over every bit of Ling Bane. That takes a while to wear off. You don't want to fight with anti-armor missile on you. He's going to pull back. He's going in and out. In and out right now is Solar. Solar has quite a few hatcheries, but he is out of lava, so he's got to be careful. He's got to wear this push down. That army should be on the right. Remember, I criticized Solar's flank before. That is not a flank, guys. His army's here. You need to be flanking from the right side. Solar, don't attack like that. Not a good angle for Solar, but he might just have the numbers. It's a lot of Ling Bane coming in. The siege tank fire is big, though. And Oliveira landing some massive shots. Guys, Solar's out of lava. He's out of lava. He lost a hatchery on the right. He hasn't been injecting his main or natural. Any of his bases, none of them have been injecting. He's building Mass Queen right now to spend his minerals. Oh my god, is Oliveira actually going to resurrect himself here? Solar needed to flank that army correctly. He didn't go for it. Oliveira with 2 tanks caught in the middle of the map. Nice engage for... No, Solar doesn't have the Lings to capitalize. He can't take out the tanks. So many tanks rallying off this double factory. Even without a 3rd base mining, it doesn't matter because he is getting right up in the guts of the Zerg economy. economy. Solar's going to have to desperately backstab. The Marines in the tank will hold on to the natural. He can raise that wall, and he is A-okay. Still, the tanks march on forwards. This time, Solar's going to have a better backstab angle from that right side. But look at that Marine tank spready, man. Beautiful, beautiful splits here from Oliveira. A Liberator's going to try and siege that right base. I think the Queen will defeat that Liberator just slightly. Raven's still alive here as well. Liberator sieges up. Queens and the Hydras will take it out. No! Solar! He's attacking his own hatchery with the Hydras! He loses the Hydra, does finally clean it up. Marines are coming in though right now. Oliveira is here. Solar needs to go for one big flank. He's got to come. Some units here, and then come in from 3 angles. You can do this. You can break this. I think he has enough supply. I say that. He's down 36 army supply. Holy crud, there's a new army cascading down the left side of the map. If these forces join, Solar is dead. He's massively outnumbered. The Marine tank is not being stopped right now. The Raven lands an anti-armor missile once more on that large chunk. These guys are getting sieged from the top right. The Liberator comes in. The pressure is mounting. Oliveira fighting so hard from behind right now. He has an engineering bay on the other side of the map. I don't know why that is there. I don't know. I think that was to try to stall out a flank from engaging his army, but oh my god, the gold base just got ransacked. Solar's going to jump on this push. He will clean that up, but at what cost? He's just lost everything. He's got no economy left. A random Ultralisk pops onto the field. Solar was so far ahead in this game, but he's let this one slip away. Ultras are trickling into this tank formation. As I said, one push to rule them all. I didn't actually think it was possible, but Oliveira has somehow found a way from his first SCV getting spotted to pushing in, and oh, Baneling's on creep. Oh no! Solar gets some good hits there on those Marines. A bit too deep on creep. The Ultra comes in. The Marines pull behind the siege tank. The Hellbats are still there. The tank's on the high ground, and I think that was Solar's last group of units. Oliveira with an insane push to finish the game. Solar caught off guard by just how committed he was. He wasn't scouting. Solar didn't realize there was no 4th command center, and you could tell he was a bit shocked by that push. Oliveira takes him out with an insane comeback. GG, well played.